It is absolutely boiling where I am in the UK today. And that makes sense because this video is going to be very, very spicy. I've just got some of the new lore of the brand new Yarrick End Edition narrative book, and this could blow you away. I want to say right at the start of the video, it's got to contain big, huge, I think it's amazing spoilers anyway, right? That's the way I see it. Amazing spoilers. If you don't want to be spoiled, then please leave the video right now. I'm sorry for the baitish title. There's like no other way to really do a title without spoiling what I'm about to talk about. So please, spoiler warnings. If you don't want to be spoiled, leave the video now. It's your first and only warning. And for those people who still remain, you are the chosen of the Emperor. The others, they're word bearers. They've left. They can't put up a fight. Now, apparently, the image that I'm about to put in the background in just a second is the last message in this Yarrick Armageddon book. Now, for those people who don't understand what I'm talking about, in all these end narrative books that we've had so far this edition, there's been a message. There was a message from the Lion to Gilliman. There was a message like apparently the Last War Protocol is about to be called in because the Iron Warriors and Perturabo's Crusade, etc., etc., etc. And this one is all about Yarrick. And I'm going to put it in the background right now. As you can see, the big thing right at the beginning says, present day. This is literally like the end of the story. I am going to do a full in-detailed video of the entire lore in this book, probably over the weekend, maybe Saturday or Sunday for those people who want that. And it says, Armageddon has fallen. It opens up with Armageddon has fallen. And then it goes into the text. It says, in the command stratagem of Hive Deathmire, the savior of Armageddon turned the words over in his mind until they became a mental drumbeat. They were underscored by the thumping reverberation of distant explosions, the buzz and squawk of cogitator engines and vox relays, the monotorious burr of servitors, and the shouts of command from dozens of officers. Commissar Yarrick's face remained a grim mask of calm despite the horrors unfolding around him. Deathmire's fate had surely been sealed, with the alien hordes closing in the southernmost districts overrun. Hive Infernus was now completely besieged. Hades and Floridris were long destroyed. Tempstora lay in the clutches of the enemy. Hell's Reach seawall had been breached, and the toxic floodwaters pouring in to drown the lower city. Acheron and Vulcanus held firm, but even the most optimistic Stratorius projected they would fall within weeks. How many days and slaughter had passed since Yarrick had given the Farus Horrifica the to death spires astropaths? Dozens, perhaps, scores. Let the message have escaped, God Emperor. Please, let them answer. Yarrick believed he had concealed his despair well. Even within his sanctum, he allowed his doubts to flare only in the privacy of his skull. At such times, the grisly business required by his new life-sustaining regimen was agonizing, and he did not fully understand what was being done to him. However, the pain and ignorance served to sharpen his will. He emerged from the ministrations with vigour and strength to embolden those around him, to inspire the last stands, to take command decisions enough to fire the power of the furnace of his soul until his next treatment. A brigadier approached, gripping a data slate. Yarrick saw the officer's hands tremble as he held it out. With a glance, Yarrick consumed its contents. Acheron had fallen. A massive asteroid had plunged towards the Hive in a seeming repeat of the murder of Hades so long ago. Acheron's defenders had unleashed everything they had, confident in shattering the oncoming mass, but it had been a ruse. The asteroid had fractured under fire, disgorging separate rocks and invasion landers laden with orcs. Worse came. Teleportation flares had been detected in the upper reaches of the Hive's command spire. A final panic communique had identified the perpetrator. Ghazghkull himself. The beast had learned and honed his strategy, just had Yarrick had warned. Yarrick dismissed the Brigadier, suddenly uncertain of his self-control. He had hoped that his presence at Hive Deathmire would tempt the Grand Warlord to attack him in person. He had even sent out Vox message taunts to Ghazghkull to goad the beast into a reckless response. But Ghazghkull had not taken the bait. Not this time. The need to slump in defeat was almost overwhelming. Yarrick turned and light swam in his vision. Fear gripped him that the alignment afflicting him had suddenly become acute. But the blazing lights were not in his mind. They sparked into life on every hololith. Yarrick recognized the signature contrails of orbital landers, the scar-like traceries of drop pod descents. Have they come? Is it them? A sense of awe, wonder flooded Yarrick. He stamped it down, fearful his heart would break if what emerged from the landers was not the planet's redemption, but its death knell. Officers' shouts caught in their throats, a buzz of feedback scratched over the Vox network. A static-laced voice emerged from the Vox emitter, its timbre possessing the distinctive power and authority of one of the Emperor's angels. Amid the sound, a single word was heard. Imperator. Now for me, as a Space Marine fanboy, I am harder than Terminator around at this point. There's two big things to really even take from that. The first thing is right at the start. At this point in the story, Armageddon has fallen. It actually happened. They actually did it. I've been saying this now for bloody years. Armageddon should be taken back by the Orcs. This could be a big turning point in some of the lore, in some of the stories, technically, because it gives the Orcs then a foothold in the galaxy for them to start launching their attacks into the Greater Imperium, into other pieces of real space and stuff like that. Don't forget, Armageddon is Ullanor. It's the Orcs' terror. That's why they're so drawn back to that planet. That is their homeworld. That is where they launched their Green Crusade from 10,000 years ago, and the Great Crusade combated them and pushed them all the way back there. We had that final triumph of the Emperor, Horus, all the Loyalist Primarchs back then. It was Ullanor. Ullanor is Armageddon. So to see the Orcs actually taking it back in some type of way, I think is absolutely fantastic. And I'm an Imperium fanboy at this point, but all that message literally then connects to 11th edition, because Armageddon is in ruins, the Orcs have invaded it, it's fallen, it's being taken. This vital world of the Imperium, it is literally one of the doors into the Segmentum Solar. It's one of the biggest manufacturing worlds in the Imperium to pump out tanks and guns and stuff like that. So if this was to fall to the Orcs, which it's looking like it has done, this is going to be a massive blow for the Imperium. But right at the end, there is hope. And that is the Space Marines. The Imperium fleet has arrived. And we know it's a big Imperium fleet because they talked about this during the big reveal of 11th edition at Adepticon. Some of the lore stuff that they spoke about, a few bits of lore said this is one of the biggest Crusade fleets that they've sent out to combat the forces of the Imperium. So this has been made up of Marines, Guard, Custodes, Sisters of Battle, right? Everything is going to be going to Armageddon to now try and take that world back from the Orcs. And this connects then to 11th edition, because those drop pods that are coming down, it's got to be the Ultramarines, it's got to be the Blood Angels that are on the box set. They're the ones ascending now onto that planet to begin that fight, to take it back. This is the connection from 10th all the way to 11th, and hopefully we'll have even more stories, even more narrative stuff happening now going forward. I'm excited. I've always said I love fighting against Orcs. These chapters in the background that you see here, Templars hate Orcs. Imperial Fist hate Orcs. Beast Arises, we've never forgot it, right? Crimson Fist, they certainly don't have a warm place in their heart for Orcs, okay? The Sons of Dawn are here. We're going to be coming, and we are conquering in Dawn's name. I love it. I can't wait for it. I'm hyped. There's so much more lore in this book, which I'm going to be covering hopefully tomorrow and over the week and stuff like that. This probably is one of my favourite bits of narrative they've put out in a while. But again, we'll break it down. We'll do other videos dedicated to that. This is just for this last message in the back of the book, which is getting me hyped now of Marines against Orcs. The Greenskins versus the Sun. Well, I say the Sons of Dawn. The Greenskins versus the Space Marines. I absolutely love it. Anyway, I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback on this. What do you think about Armageddon literally falling to the Orcs, right? Do the Orcs deserve Armageddon? Or should they be erased like the awful Xenos that they are? Let me know down below. I'll have a nice little chinwag down there, as we always do. See you in a bit. Have a great day, evening, night, way around the world. And bye-bye.